What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. Reacting to $140 guitar versus $4,100 guitar. Cheap versus expensive guitar challenge by Dean Davis. So what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be reacting to $140 guitar versus $4,100 guitar. Cheap versus expensive by Dean Davis. As always, everyone, if you have not already subscribed to Dean Davis, go ahead and subscribe now. Also, in the description of my video, I've got the original link for this video. Go ahead and give the original video a like as well. And on my video, this video, please do leave a comment on what you'd like to see me react to next. Now, without too much further ado, let's get to it.
Have you ever wanted to compare a budget guitar up next to a really high-end guitar to see how much different they really sound? Well, boys and girls, this is your chance, and you don't even have to annoy any Guitar Center employees. Because today, I am going to be comparing the Samick Formula guitar, my first guitar from high school, which we purchased for $140, up against the legendary Paul Reed Smith SC58, which MSRP'd at $4,100 when purchased. And I'm going to be playing these guitars side by side in two different settings. The first will be a rock type song.
Already, I can see one potential issue here. Type of pickups. Obviously, the PRS has two humbuckers. Maybe it does coil splitting, maybe it doesn't. And it looks like the Samick, the cheap one, has a humbucker in the bridge and two lipstick style, almost like Dan Electro style, single coil-ish type pickups. Now, as we all know, and we've seen in other videos and other YouTube evidence before, the difference between one humbucker to the next can be negligible depending on how much gain there's put in there. But the difference from a humbucker to a single coil and vice versa, anybody can pick out. That's usually something fairly obvious that anybody can pick out in most cases. But, let's still go on with the test.
And the second will be a more jazz type song. Each guitar will run through the exact same amp setup, and I'm even going to try and match settings guitar for guitar so we can get an idea of what each one sounds like in a rock setting and then in a jazz setting. Oh, and last thing, we're going to jam out and have some fun while testing these guitars because we're in a music studio and not in a science lab. So let's stop yapping and let's start jamming.
Bridge pickup, so I can compare the bridge pickup on the humbucker. You can probably do the same thing with the PRS, the humbucker. Yep. The bridge position. Unlike a lot of the amp sim comparisons and all that sort of stuff, there is a bit of a difference in tone here. It seems like the PRS seems a little brighter, a little more of the highs are accentuated. Now, and again, as well, too, they're not high gain signals. They're completely clean, but they are very processed signals, both of them. Fair amount of delay and verb, maybe a little touch of chord. There's some wet on it as well too. But just goes to show you these days, if you have, I don't know exactly what he's using for an amp setup, whether he's using amp sims, whatever, what his settings are. But he did say he was going to try to match the tones as much as possible. So this is not like the exact same amp with the exact same settings, taking two different guitars and plugging them in type of comparison. So it's a little bit different than the type of comparisons that I'm used to featuring on this channel. But then again, I have not watched this particular video, hence reaction video, because I'm giving my true and honest reaction. So, okay, but it's quite different. I like seeing about how he's actually trying to make it sound exactly the same or as close as possible. And there's a little tiny bit of a difference, but not much at all. There is a difference. There, it seems like the mids pop a little more. On the other one, I thought it was the highs that were sensitive. Can't really tell as much in the low end range. In that range, you can tell. I'm finding it really interesting that, like, in the mid-range picking, I could tell a tonal difference. In the low-end picking range, I could not tell a tonal difference. On the tapping riff, I can tell a bit of a tone. It's interesting that, the tonal ranges and the tonal differences, are different on different ranges of the neck. Interesting. Like I said before, I was a little concerned because of the single coils to get that difference out. Yeah, he's been using nothing but the bridge pickup on both guitars, which both guitars in the bridge have a humbucker. Interesting.
Jeez, that was fun. I think the only thing that could potentially be more fun is a jazz test.
Bit, yeah. There's a bit of tonal difference there. And again, whenever I am saying that there is a tonal difference, it's nothing astronomical. You can tell. It's not like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Oh, that Paul Reed Smith sounds, 50 times better. Well, or close to 40 times better because it's 40 times more expensive, but I'm not hearing 40 times better myself. And that's just the thing. I know there's a a lot of people that will argue this way and that way about, guitars and cheap versus expensive and all that. But the bottom line is this. There is a lot of really, and again, I got to quit calling them cheap guitars and call them affordable guitars and or basses. There is a ton of companies that are coming out with very affordable lines that are really good. Very few, if any, modifications need to be made. If anything, a decent setup, which almost every guitar is going to need that, especially if you want to put on your own gauge of strings and all that sort of thing. But the bottom line is you're going to be putting said guitar through a signal chain. It's an electric guitar or bass. So you're going to be plugging it into either an amp sim, an amp modeler, or an actual amp, and maybe even a bunch of pedals before that in the signal chain. So as long as you've got an instrument that's at least good enough, that's not noisy, that's not all buzzy, that's not shorting out on the output jack, that can stay in tune, that plays decently, get yourself a decent setup with amp and or modeler and or plugins if you're doing digital recording, and you can get yourself a really good sound for not a lot of money. Case in point, it sounds pretty freaking good next to the Paul Reed Smith. There is a difference. Like I said, when he was doing the low range picking, I couldn't tell the difference totally, even when looking at it, and I'm being quite objective. And again, everyone, I might remind you all, if you are going to be watching any sort of video that has to do with tonal comparison, do not do it on the little crappy speakers on your smartphone. Get some good quality earbuds, headphones, or watch this on an actual sound system. Because definitely through the speakers on your smartphone, you're not going to be able to tell the difference in this at all. But it is a fantastic time to be a guitar or bass player these days. Instruments are so affordable, and the amp modeling plugin options that we have, if we're going to be just recording at home, and all the other amp modelers, the really affordable ones, are sounding fantastic. So, there's I remember when I had my Valatin GP100 that I got for $150, and even my Indio that I'm using this week on my live streams for $187. You put those two together, and it sounded really good direct with the amp modeling. And, not even $350, and you've got really good tone from top to bottom. It's a brave new world for us. Here's where it's hard to tell. In this example, I hear it more. There is a difference in this example. There wasn't in the rock one in the low and thing index.
So I guess it's time for a conclusion. And you're probably thinking that I'm gonna compare tone and playability and things like that. But no, the real reason why I made this video is because I wanna encourage people to play the guitar that they have. And I don't like it whenever people are convinced that if they had a really high-end guitar, then they would sound amazing. Because the reality is, you can purchase a nice guitar, but you can't purchase skill. But on the positive side, I want to say it's more fun to play and jam out on the guitar that you have than it is to shop for and lust after a very expensive guitar. And you don't have to be a pro to have a blast playing your guitar. Just pick that puppy up and start going for it. So to wrap this thing up, I hope you feel encouraged. I hope you feel pumped to go grab your guitar and to start playing some enjoyable music. This is Dean signing out. I'll catch you in the next video.
All right, there we have it. $140 guitar versus $4,100 guitar. Cheap versus expensive guitar challenge by Dean Davis. Love the way he wrapped it up and the message that he had at the end. It was kind of parallel with kind of what I was saying to a certain extent. Well, at least about the fact that there isn't really that much of a difference. You can get a good sound for cheap. But yeah, absolutely. If you have not already, go and subscribe to Dean Davis. In the description of my video, I have the link for the original video. Go and give the original video a like. And on this video, my video, leave a comment on what you'd like to see me reacting to next. Thanks for checking out this video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, click the notification bell, like, comment, and share. It doesn't cost a thing and would really help out the channel. Also, please subscribe to my other channel, GK Mac Music, for some live looping live streams with a side of jackassery, some original music, and some short content, also with a side of jackassery. If you'd like to help out the channel financially, you can buy some merch at the merch store, or you can become a channel member. As always, everyone, thanks so much for your continued support. Do what makes you happy.